You are in Miami right now, Fadwa, right? Like you had a
Yeah,
shoot?
I did. I had a shoot. I don't
Okay,
even know what day it is. I've been traveling for the past 2 months, is what it feels like.
dang.
But we had a shoot on Tuesday, and then I thought at the end of that, I was like, I need a vacation. Like, I haven't taken time by myself
Yes.
probably since February.
Yes.
So I was like, I just need a few days. I'm here. I love the ocean. And so I just added a few.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. What were you shooting in Miami?
This one was a corporate job, so
Okay.
nothing super, super glamorous,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
my client does like a big AGM meeting every year, and so we just film a bunch of videos for the companies that they invest in, and then they play them at the event.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I love that. Because I feel like, well, I'm going to say this about Miami. I adore Miami. If anyone wants to fly us out to Miami to record a podcast, I'm for it. Jake and I, our honeymoon was in Miami, and I had never been there before. And I fell in love with that city because it was like so community driven. Like I feel like we could not go anywhere where there wasn't families, where there weren't people hanging out, where people, I mean, they just were loving life in Miami. And that is my kind of vibe. I was like, this place is unreal. And the food was phenomenal.
Yeah. I come, this is probably my fourth or fifth year. I come every September, in
Oh,
general, just to like have a solo vacation. And like it's so easy
yeah.
for me to talk to anybody. I'm half
Yes.
Latina, so like talk to anybody here in English or Spanish. It's just like a very comforting place. I never feel
Yes.
really unsafe. And I
Yes.
stay right by where I can like walk to the beach. So yeah,
Yes.
I love coming here.
Oh, I adore that. I adore that. Okay, but so back to what you're saying about shooting corporate events. So everybody, welcome to Style to Set. We're so happy you're here. And I am so pleased and beyond thrilled, which I know I say that about every single person on this podcast, but I truly mean it because I really make an effort to include people that I adore and that have this special spark of just wonderful goodness about them. And this is how I feel about Fadwa. And Fadwa does both. She's based in Texas and Nashville. She does both commercial and, well, she does photo and video. She does commercial work. She does music videos. Like her spectrum of experience at her age is truly phenomenal. And I'm going to just read off her list really quick. She does music imagery, editorial, travel, behind the scenes, working in photo and video. She's collaborated with Universal Music Group, AT&T, Sony, Mars Pet Foods, which we've actually worked on together, ESPN Plus. She's done numerous really, really cool creative things. And really the client list is just the tip of the iceberg. And we'll get into talking more about that. But I just want to formally welcome you, Fadwa, to Style to Set and just tell you how excited I am to have you.
You're so sweet. Thank you. Like when
I
you reached out, I was like, I've never done a podcast before. This is my first one. And I was like, what a gift that it gets to be with you. Like it's such an honor to
Yay.
get to be here.
Hooray, hooray. I know, like, I have been surprised in doing the pod, obviously new to it, like learning all the time, how I meet the most incredible creative people. And some people are like, I just don't like want to be on camera. And I'm like, you guys, I want you to be on camera. Just put your big girl pants on and get here because people need to know you and they need to know how amazing you are. And so I am so thrilled. Thank you for being on the first podcast with us. We really appreciate it.
Yay.
But going back to you a little bit, so I noticed too, and this is why FOD was such a gift, is I was looking at my podcast guest and I realized that like a lot of the people that I was talking to, which happens naturally in life, were my age, right? They were kind of my age or older. And I was thinking to myself, there's so many cool, creative, talented younger people as well. And I feel like an old lady saying that, like I really am like such a mom. But so that's part of the reason why you're so special. And so I just want to start it off like talking about you, Fadwa. Like, how did you get into photography? Like, where does your story start? Like, tell me about you.
Oh man. Well, thank you for calling me younger because my
Oh,
sisters don't forget to remind me that I'm in my 30s and they're
no,
like, you're
girl. You're
I don't know.
young, girl.
I'm so young.
Yeah, and you look amazing. Your skin is glowing.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you. The
welcome.
ocean.
Yes, it does
Um
such things. Yes.
So I got started completely by accident, honestly. Back in 2016, I left the music industry world. I worked in music publishing in Nashville
Yeah.
and was like, yeah, this isn't it. Like it, and I, at
Yeah.
the time I didn't understand that I was a creative. Like I played guitar, I sang, but, like, it was never to the level of I'm gonna be an artist. So I worked in
Yeah.
publishing, and it something in me, like, wasn't fulfilled, just I
Mhm.
didn't know what it was at that point. And I went back to Texas because I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna stay in Nashville, don't know what else to do," and I had been
Yeah.
in Nashville for school.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I substituted elementary school for, like, almost a year. I was
Holy
like, "I
cow. How was
don't know
that?
what else to do." I loved it. Honestly, I
Yeah?
loved it so much. I was like, "Okay, if this is, like, all my life is gonna be, like, that's okay," because I love children, my mom works in a
Oh,
school, it felt like something I just didn't wanna be at a desk. I was like, "My job cannot be a 9 to
yes.
5 at a
Yeah.
desk." That's all I knew in my life was that's
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I subbed elementary school, and then I found an advertising agency in Houston called L Creative, which, like, to this day still holds such a special place in my heart. But I kept tweeting at them. I was like, "Hire me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Please hire me. I don't know what that's gonna be, but just, like,
Yeah.
find me a job." And they gave me, like, a production coordinator role there.
Oh,
So that's kind of how I
wow.
got
And
into
that
it.
just
Yeah.
came from tweeting, like, you just stuck with it and you're like, "I'm just tweeting them constantly." I mean, were you
Yeah.
tweeting them daily? Like, what was that
Not
like?
daily, but, like, every time they would post about the job, I would
Yeah.
respond, be like, "You're already like, I'm ready to start. So, like, stop posting about the job."
I love that. Get it, girl.
Yeah, which I'm like now I'd be like, "What the heck were you doing?" But it worked.
Hey, it worked.
It worked, it worked.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they, like, took a chance on me, and it was
Yeah.
all happenstance that one of the owners, his brother teaches at Belmont, and that's where I had gone to college. So,
Cool,
it was
cool,
just, like,
okay.
full circle kinda moment, and, through that, like, I was coordinating, like I said, and I was
Mhm.
coordinating not just the video schedules and calendars, but I
Mhm.
was coordinating web design. I was coordinating our animation team, all the
Wow.
photo shoots. Like, I was managing all of those timelines from pre-production all the way to post, so I kind of knew,
Mhm.
okay, a web design takes about this time, an animation takes about this
Yeah.
time, and, like, these are the assets that are needed for all these different deliverables.
Sure.
Um, which was major because, like, I don't know a lot of people that understand all of those different facets in our
Oh, yeah.
industry.
Uh-huh. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's big, and so, they slowly, like, let me start getting more into the producing side of things,
Mhm.
and we'd be on set because it was an in-house team, so it was me,
Mhm.
director, and DP, and we
Mhm.
did everything together. I did wardrobe, I did propping, I did,
Wow.
some set design, I would make edible props for some shoots, like, I did kind of
Yeah.
touched everything, which was amazing, but it was just the 3 of us in-house, and then
Wow.
we would be on set and they'd be like, "Okay, well, we're gonna break on interviews or break whenever we're rolling
Mhm.
and take some stills." And it
Yeah.
would be such a hassle to figure out, like, our DP was also our stills guy, and him
Mm.
trying to do that while we're all trying to move different pieces along. I was like, "Let me pick up a camera and learn some stuff too, like, I'm just here, let me do it." And so
Yeah.
then I start doing photography with them,
Wow.
which also turned into editing. They were gonna hire a video editor, and I was like, "No, just teach me how to video edit." So I
Yeah.
was video editing. It was, like,
Wow.
the best form of education I could have gotten because I
Yeah.
studied music publishing. I did not study production in any capacity.
Right.
Um, but the owners there were so like, Thomas is one of the partners there,
Yeah.
and he stays, like, such a blessing, one of my favorite humans, and I would
Aw.
not be here if he hadn't been like, "Yeah, what do you want? Like, go take that camera, go do this." And same with Jose, he was, like, one of the other owners.
Yeah.
They sit with me with Photoshop and sit with me on After Effects or edit whatever, Premiere, and would just let me ask questions and learn.
Come
Um,
on.
so yeah, like that I was there for almost 5 years, and COVID hit, and I was still there, and I,
Yeah.
like, loved that job so much. Some
Mhm.
personal stuff had happened as well that I was like, "I
Yeah.
can't like, something needs to change in my life."
Yeah. Yeah.
Not I'll stay here until I'm, like, in my 50s, and I would have been happy, but I knew
Yeah.
that there was more, and, yeah, I quit in July or June of 2020, moved back to Nashville July of 2020, and
Wow. So right in the heart of COVID, you quit. Okay,
right in the
so
heart of
let's
it, I
go
was like,
back.
"I'm quitting my job."
I have so many questions. This whole story, because like I feel like Fadwa and all of her goodness is like, yeah. So I was like doing every job, and I learned video editing and photo editing, and I was line producing and like all these things. So I wanted to highlight that for a second. So I remember when I was first starting out, my first job out of college was at Flower Magazine, and I was the executive assistant to the editor, and it was the most incredible job because you're multifaceted. Like you're learning about, and that's where I first got introduced to stylists and photo shoots, and you're scheduling things, and you're figuring out like, oh, we need to post some stuff on, at the time social media was very young, but like, how are we going to do this? And so you get your hands into all different areas of creativity and production. Jobs like that are gold. Like if you can land something like that, just like Fadwa did, what a gift and a blessing. And so I want you to speak to that a little bit, Fadwa. Like, can you talk to someone who's just starting out, who maybe they're in a position like that, and maybe they feel like, where is this going? Like, this feels really overwhelming. Am I getting taken advantage of because I'm wearing all these hats? Like, can you speak to that a little bit about the goodness of being in a spot, in a job like that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I tell anybody now like that asks as well the
Yeah,
same thing. Like, go find a job where you can do everything. And there
so
are
good.
times where it feels overwhelming, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like that is setting you up for so much success in the future of like really understanding, like we said, timelines. Different like
Hmm.
animators communicate so differently than photographers. Our web
Hmm.
developers, whole different human. So like understanding personality types is also
Hmm.
such a big thing. And just being able to like take on all these projects like in a way that you're not nervous to take them on later because you've gotten to touch so many different kinds of projects, talk to different kind of people, different budgets, like, and doing all of it. Like when I go as a producer and I'm talking to a stylist or an art director or
Hmm.
whatever, like I understand that what I'm asking, like I know what I'm asking versus
Hmm.
just, hey, can you do this, get this done, and have no like whereabouts of like what is actually happening and what that person has to do. Like
Yes.
that is so it's so good because it creates that human connection too on working on future projects together. Those people know that I
Hmm.
understand, I see them, and they want to work together again. So yeah, I just think it's the
Yes.
most valuable thing you could ever do.
And that little nugget you said about communication, like I'm learning that a web creator, communicates totally different than my animation guy. That could not be more profound because I remember when I was first starting out, I called my mom and I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I feel like I'm saying things. I had later got moved into like an art director position. I'm saying things to my graphic designer and they're just not getting it and they're not doing it. She was like, and all of her wonderful career lady wisdom was like, well, Callie, people communicate in different ways. And my mind being blown, like, wait, everyone doesn't communicate how I communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, so you saying that sounds just like, well, sure, everybody communicates in different ways, but just having that foresight and knowledge to go onto set and be like, okay, I understand how the DP or director of photography, the director of the video, I realize sometimes I throw around terms on the podcast and I'm really hoping that people jump in and they're new and they're like, what does that mean? So he's gonna or she's gonna communicate totally different than even the producer. So because you have an understanding of those worlds, it
Yeah.
totally sets you up for success. So then going forward into Fadwa, you said, okay, so you're working there, you're crushing it, you're learning video editing, which I am terrible at. So I'm so impressed by that. And then you decided to quit. Like, tell me
Yeah.
about how did you know in your heart that was the right move?
Oh man. I mean, for me it was so faith driven. Like there
Yes,
was
sure.
like I had mentioned, personal stuff had happened, and in
Yeah.
that personal stuff was tied with the company to an extent to where when one door closed, my
Yes.
whole world like shattered. And it literally happened two
Mm.
days before COVID. Like two
Mm.
days before the world shut down, my world had already like completely broken apart.
Oh,
And
man. I'm
I had
sorry.
to sit. Thank you. I
Mhm.
so thankful. Like it was such a blessing.
Yeah.
But in that I was probably 27, 28 years old.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and was just letting all of these dreams die of like, okay, I thought that I was gonna be here. I thought I was gonna marry
Mhm.
this person. I thought we were gonna start our own business, like all these different things creatively that were just intertwined and like really just letting all of that fall
Mhm.
created a freedom to still like we were all working from home. I was editing from home at that point and would just journal every day of like, okay, what's the next step? Because I was living in Houston, that's where I grew up, and it's not a very there are creative aspects to it, but when you compare it to a city like LA, New York, Nashville, like it is very different. And so I didn't feel like I was like, I don't know what else to do. Like I don't know how I'm ever gonna move forward. Do I just go to teaching? Like what do I do? And through that, I felt like I had different friends randomly confirm, like, hey, you need to go back to Nashville. And I was fighting that because my parents are in Houston. I had again held on to such a life that I was like, this is where I'm gonna like end up. Like that's it. There's nothing else for me. Like I stopped dreaming. And different people confirmed. I kept like reading scripture that was kind of just reminding me of like there is exceedingly and abundantly more, all these kind of things. And the second I like verbalized to Thomas, again, my old boss, I was like, I think I'm gonna go back to Nashville. I think that's what I need to do. I didn't have a job
Mhm.
lined up, had
Yeah.
nothing. And he was like, honestly, my wife and I were thinking you needed to like move there and we're gonna pay
Mhm.
you X amount extra. You're gonna take your I had two monitors, like take your monitors with you. Like you're gonna
Mhm.
go, you're gonna see, and you're gonna go do this. And I'm
Mhm.
just crying. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to Nashville. Don't know the industry there because I worked in music, like I said before I had left. So I was like, I don't know freelancing world. Didn't want to be a freelancer like at all. And the second he like said that, I was in Nashville within 3 weeks. It all just lined up, and yeah, it was such a gift. And I started working with Evolve. That's how I like they offered me a job as a
Mhm.
producer there for like a
Mhm.
contract,
Mhm.
and that got me back. But it really was like the doors just started opening, and I had to
Mhm.
decide, am I gonna do this blindly? Because
Mhm.
there's nothing for me here. So if I want to chase after dreams, like I've got to just do it and see what happens. And I've been on a wild ride since.
Oh my gosh. One of my favorite quotes of all time is a Helen Keller quote. When I was a kid, because Helen Keller's from Alabama, I was like obsessed with her. Like, and looking back on it now as an adult, I can see how I just was drawn to her courage and her bravery. Because I grew up in a very traditional household where like women's roles were like only kind of seen as certain things. And I remember being drawn to her and being like, she defied that. Like she didn't fit in the box and she had faith in God and she went for it. And so she has a quote and it's life is either a grand adventure or nothing else. And
Love.
I think when we take that leap of faith and go, I don't know what's on the other side of this, but I have to admit that scripture's pointing me here. People are speaking into my life and pointing me here. There's something about like the universe that is like pushing me here. And it's my choice now to respond or not. And I can say too that every time in my life where I've had those choices and I've responded to faith and to where I feel like I'm being called and led to, it's really scary at first, but then on the other side of it, and I think there are choices I've made in my life, and I don't know if you feel this way, that have been faith choices I still don't see the fruit from, or I still don't
Yeah.
understand quite why, what's going to happen from it. But like, I think too, part of a creative heart is being drawn to that and going like, part of me honoring who I am on the inside is I've got to take risks and I've got to
Yeah.
kind of go for these things.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my long-winded explanation to say I totally agree with everything you're saying and everything you did. Um, so you moved to Nashville, you start working for Evolve,
Mhm.
and what happened there and what led you to shooting? I mean, obviously you had learned it before, but like tell me about what that transition was like.
Yeah. So Evolve was my first production house experience. And at the
Mhm.
time, I also didn't understand the true difference between like agency life and production.
Yes.
Um, so that was like a big shock of like, okay, production is like, that's all we're doing. There's no like diverting from video. And I was signed on as a producer. So photo, I honestly didn't even, it was really hard for me to get photo in outside of Evolve because I was only doing production. I was doing, at the time, they were working really closely with Film Supply, which is stock footage for people that don't know, but they really beautiful stock footage. And so I was producing 3 to 4 shoots a month. Me, again, director of photography and like a camera op will go out and just shoot for like half day, a full day of whatever theme Film Supply was saying, whether it was like, we need Christmas and like people opening gifts, or we need a pumpkin patch, or someone like picking pumpkins, whatever, things like that. So I was doing that. And then would help on like random, like they did a series at ESPN that I had like line produced a few episodes with.
So tell me about that difference really quick. You mentioned that production houses are different from advertising agencies.
Mhm.
Can you explain that really quick? Because I'm hoping that we're going to have some people listening that are like thinking about going one of those two routes. So can you explain the main differences there?
Yeah. So I would say the biggest difference for me was like the work-life balance, and like
Mm-hmm.
agencies, typically you're like a 9 to 5, 9 to 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're not working weekends. Like it's pretty structured, and you do travel and kind of break that sometimes, but it's
Yeah.
it's more of a corporate situation. Whereas a production company, and with Evolve, and that's the only one I've worked with like
Mm-hmm.
so closely,
Yeah.
it was 60-hour weeks minimum.
Woof.
You're
Woof.
not you're not turning off. You're working through the weekend because that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And the way that I guess their clients were too, they're just like nonstop versus like
Mm.
again Houston, we had a lot of range, but some of them were very
Mhm.
corporate, and so again, they're also turned off at certain times, and they're not responding to
Sure.
whatever, so you're off.
Yeah.
So that
Were
was the
were
biggest
that
difference.
was that intensity of work hard for you? Like, were 60-hour weeks hard? Like, how did that make
Yeah,
you feel?
dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
From dead,
real.
both
Yeah.
physically and, like, emotionally, like, I
Yeah.
wasn't able to call friends back, I didn't have
Mm.
capacity to talk to my parents, like, my physical health took a toll, and
Mhm. Yeah.
not being able to do photography, like, I was doing both roles for so long, and I love
Yeah.
photography. I was
Yeah.
only doing producing, and if I only did producing forever, I would hate my life. If I
Yeah.
only did photography forever, I also would probably like, I need that
Mhm.
mixture, and I wasn't able to get that, and just yeah, all the personal life that, like, had to take a second like, a second seat or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
it was hard, and
Yeah.
I realized it 6 months in because it was, like, a six-month contract to then
Yes.
hire full-time, and
Yes.
when the full-time offer came in, I was like my dad was sick at the time too, was like, "I need to be able to go
Mhm.
home," like, it just wasn't it was another moment of like, "Okay, God, like, here's an offer for a full-time job
Mhm.
during the pandemic still, and
Yes.
I've already quit my job once, like, do I quit
Yes.
again and just, like, suck it up, or do I like, figure it out and stay in it?" And I
Yeah.
called my dad, who is very, traditional Middle Eastern man, like, have the
Mhm.
401k, have the job,
Yes.
and he was like, "I think you need to go freelance." And I was like,
Wow. So your dad, out of kind
"Yeah."
of not typical of his character, was like, "You
Not at
need to go
all.
freelance." Holy
He's like, "Yeah,
cow.
you need to
'Cause
have
when
your
I
own
went
business."
freelance, my parents were like, "Absolutely not." Like, "What are you
Well,
thinking?"
every
And I'm
time
like,
they were like, "What are you doing?"
"Yeah, yeah."
But in that moment, in that, like, big pivotal moment, my dad was the one that was like, "Yeah, own your own business, like, it's not worth it." 'Cause
Wow.
he could see the side of it where I was really struggling,
Mhm.
and yeah, if he hadn't told me that, I probably would have kept stayed in it, and I'm so
Yeah.
thankful that he was the one to, like,
Oh,
verbalize what I knew God was already telling me, but I
yes.
needed my, like, physical father to do.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a great great moment.
That's amazing. Okay, so then flash forward to you're like, I'm going freelance. I'm gonna do. Had you landed on I'm doing photography? Like that's what I want to do, or were you thinking you'd be a freelance producer?
I was thinking I would still do both. I
Yeah.
mean, because I was freelancing photography a little bit, but I think
Yeah.
primarily it was, like, let me have a producing focus and then fit
Yes.
in photo when I can.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and it just started happening like,
Mm.
Red Pepper was my first, like, the Caesar stuff was, like, probably one some of my first, like, full freelance work.
So when we were
Um
working together, that was some of your first?
yeah, like, some of my first, like,
No
bigger
way.
photo commercial where I was a freelancer. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
in the heck? Okay, let me just tell you, Fad was a boss lady. I had no idea that was one of your first projects. Like, she's a total professional. Everything was perfect and spot on. I remember them being like, oh my word, these photos are amazing.
You're
You were
so
such a
sweet.
joy on set, so calm and relaxed. That's amazing.
Thank you. I mean, again, I had the agency side of it that, like, had set me up to understand, like, what was going on and all of that. Um,
Still,
but yeah,
wow.
and that was also mad at Red Pepper. I had set an inquiry, like, probably before I had left Houston, I think. I was
Mhm.
just looking at places.
Yeah.
Never heard anything, and then when I stopped working with Evolve, Matt hit me up out of the blue and was like, "Hey, do you wanna connect?" And I was like, "It's just the timing is
Wow.
so God's timing. It's so perfect. It's
So
so
perfect.
perfect. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then it just, like,
Wow.
snowballed out of there. Like, it's been nonstop of just freelance work, and it's funny now because 'cause I'll get full-time job offers, and I'm like, "No, ew, like, never again." But at the time, I was
Ew.
like, "Freelance, that's terrifying, like, let me have a stable income," and now
Oh
I that's,
my
like, the last thing I want.
But you know what, Fadwa? I think that is the Lord's foresight in your life to go, I see where she's going to thrive, and it's actually going to be here. Fear is going to tell her she's going to thrive over here, but listening to my voice, I see greater than the fear, and I see where you're actually going to thrive. And I think it's another signpost that you're going in the right direction. You know, that you're like, no way. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
that consistency. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the grand adventure that is this beautiful freelance life. And I think that's amazing. Okay. So tell me about some of your favorite projects because I know you have done so many things. Like were telling me you like shot a music video for King and Country and like was it the Dominican Republic?
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago. I
Tell
was
me
I was
about
the, like,
that.
producer for that one.
What a dream. Oh my word.
That one was wild because it was supposed to be in Uganda originally.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, "Okay, well, like, let's go do that," and I was doing
Yeah.
it through Crash Bang, in Nashville,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
they had brought me on, their producer, Katie, wasn't able to go on the trip, so they brought me in, to kind of like be the in-person, like on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
And Uganda got canceled the day before we were flying out because of everything that was happening in the Middle East and all of that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna postpone, which typically
Mhm.
when you say you're postponing a shoot, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's
Um,
canceled. You're like, "Just
yeah,
forget it.
it's
Move
canceled.
on." Yeah.
But they came back a few weeks later and they're like, Dominican? And I was like, sure, let's go.
Oh my word. Was it oh, tell me everything.
Oh man, it was a wild ride. Like
Yeah.
we were there, myself, director, and DP were
Mhm.
there for a week.
Mhm.
We only were supposed to shoot for 2 days. When
Mhm.
we get there, we start location scouting everything, and we're like, okay, wait, this is gonna take a lot longer to like travel between locations than we thought.
Yeah.
Like it's not as like easy as you think when you're not there. And so we ended up adding like 2 half pickup days, which
Mhm.
worked out great, but shot some more than we were going to.
Mm.
And then we did the shoot days, and our first shoot day, you get to the final like cumulative scene of the whole video. You like have to get this big party shot. You've got like 100 extras. You're outside, in this town, and it starts downpouring. And we're
Oh,
like, okay, we gotta like everyone's trying to get under tents, and we're in a like uh underdeveloped like little village. So there's not
yeah.
anywhere like for us to go. There's a base camp that you've got to walk to that's like a 5 minute walk, or you're under these two tents and we're all huddled and like the dirt is becoming mud. Like it was insane. And I'm just like, hey, we have to we can't wait it out. Like even if we wait it out, it's not safe. So like
Yeah.
I'm hearing lightning. You've got some elderly people here as extras. Like it's a
Yeah.
dance scene. You just cannot do it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like we've got to figure out how to like now reschedule our whole second day to reshoot this again and like pray it doesn't rain.
Oh my word. So did you just start, like, busting people out? Were you just like,
Yeah,
everyone oh my
yeah. So
word.
we were shooting in partnership with Compassion International. They were
Okay.
helping a little bit.
Mhm.
And so Compassion, we were at like a village that they are a part of, and they had some buses that were able to take people
Okay.
back to the church that they were coming through. So
Where
that
did the
like helped
extras come from? Like, how do you get all those
from
extras
the
in the
church. From
oh
literally
my
from the church,
word.
yeah, yeah. Because we were like, "We need X amount of people," and, so Compassion thankfully helped with that, and they found all the extras, and it was like a big party scene, so it wasn't that any
Yeah.
extras were really, like, doing anything too specific, they were just, like,
Mhm.
dancing and playing drums and, like, all that
Yeah.
kinda stuff, but,
Mhm.
yeah, bust
Yes.
everybody out, we, like, got our crew, like, as
Mhm.
as best we could, put everybody up, and, like, drove back to the hotel and then stayed up that night rescheduling the second day to, like,
Oh,
cut some scenes, put in that scene back in, it was a lot, but the place was beautiful, like, the people were amazing. It was an experience I'm very thankful for. I'm excited to see the video, like, haven't seen the edit yet, but yeah, it'll be really cool.
well, hopefully the video will be ready by the time the podcast comes out and we can
Yes.
link to it. But I have to know what happened on the second day. Like, did it rain? Was it sunny?
Oh,
Was it
oh my
okay?
gosh, we got so lucky. It was sunny and beautiful because the whole first day, like the downpour took us out, but it had been raining all day. So we were shooting in between rain, stopping, starting. So it also like set our schedule, like it kept setting us back. So it kind of was a blessing in a really weird, stressful way. But
Yeah.
day two, sunshine the whole day. We just ended up like some of the things we were gonna do in a different city, we ended up just mashing them into where we were going back to. It worked out. We were surprised to get the same amount of extras back because we thought we were gonna get like half of that, and they all came back. It all worked out. Like
Oh.
wild. Our picture card broke down on the second day though, so that was
Oh my word. So,
yeah.
okay, this seems fraught with difficulties. Was this the
Yeah.
hardest thing you've ever produced?
No, I've had a harder job before,
Harder
but this
than
is up
Dominican Re
there.
oh my word.
Yeah.
Tell me what's harder than what you just talked about, because I can't fathom that.
I had a shoot in Austin that I was production
Okay.
managing.
'Kay.
Um, and it was 10 days in Austin. It was 4 shoot days total. So it was
Okay.
like 2 different the same overarching client, but 2
Mhm.
different client teams. So, like,
Okay.
first shoot was one set, and then also different director, different, DP, like, different crews
Okay.
throughout. So that was
Yeah.
already really hard on, like, a managerial side,
Sure.
but it also rained, and it was a running shoot, so thankfully, they were like, "Well, we still run in the rain." So, like,
Right. Yeah.
we're still gonna do that. The biggest thing was there was lightning, but for the second set of shooting days and, like, second set of client set, director, DP, the director and DP were fired like a day and a half before the shoot. So
What?
That was stressful. Yeah.
They were just
Yeah.
fired?
They were fired. There had been a lot of like just communication issues, like
Mm,
personality types.
mm.
And thankfully I wasn't the producer on that one, so I didn't have to do the firing. But in terms of like, okay, well, who's coming in to replace this and like catching them up to speed and just
Yes.
everything, like and our athlete, we were gonna have an Olympian athlete as one of our talent, they got
Mhm.
COVID also 2 days before the shoot.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and it was like a tall male athlete, and they replaced him with a petite female athlete. And so all of the wardrobe was already sent to Austin for his
Oh
figure.
my word. She's like, I can't wear these pants. I look like a clown. These are too
Yeah.
big. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing
It was
here? I'm
like
not wearing an extra large.
the shoe was the size like 7 or something, and the shoes were a size 11 or 12.
Of
Like it
course.
was
Yeah.
like, everything flipped. That one was a hard shoot. It was a hard shoot.
So how did it end up? What happened? Like, what did you do?
I mean, we figured it out. We shot with the new
Wow.
talent, the director and DP came in, and thankfully they are
Yeah.
co-owners of the production company that we were working with. So they were like, we'll just come and figure it out. And they're so talented. So there wasn't any
Yeah.
hesitation on that front, but it was like, okay, well, we need to connect you with our AC, like our camera guy. We need to make sure that you understand what's happening creatively so that you can go into
Yeah.
the shoot confident. And then we just had to work around like we sent someone out to buy some different kinds of shoes, but the issue was like
Mhm.
these shoes hadn't launched yet. And so we couldn't just
Ah, got
buy
you.
the new shoes. So we had to like stuff the ones and like fake up some of the shots to work with that shoe and then would put her in different shoes for like the rest of it.
Oh my gosh,
So
just to show how resilient Fadwa is. Okay, because I think sometimes people see like was this with the running nonprofit that you love? Was that the same people or was it a different
not the
client?
same company. This was for Brooks Running.
Okay, so for
Yeah.
Brooks. Okay. So a lot of you guys might have seen like a Brooks commercial and there's a beautiful petite athlete running in these beautiful shoes and you think, "Oh, that looks simple." We can look back on Fadwa and go, "Absolutely
This
not. That was
happened.
the most not simple thing in the entire 9 years," because there's so many details that
Yeah.
producers think about. So Fadwa, if you could give me like a brief explanation of what a producer does and just so people can have a context of like what does a producer do and what does sort of a day-to-day look like when you're producing a shoot?
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Overall, the producer is like making the budget. If they don't have an EP, like they're making the budget with to get it signed off for client approval. So you're putting everything in there, like how much your talent is going to get paid, like your travel, your hotel, every single
Mhm.
person on the crew list that you're going to have, like
Mhm.
every single thing that is going to cost money goes into this budget.
Mhm.
And then you get it approved and then you pray that you don't go over.
Yes,
Because
because
making
things
budgets
happen. Yeah.
making budgets is so like, yeah, I'm gonna just like see what happens and you're throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it sticks, but like you don't know.
Yeah, you really don't because things that
You
happen
really
like you said, it rains and
it
you're supposed to
rains.
shoot outside and now everything's wet. Like art
Yeah,
department is having to salvage like, these paper mache, whatever
yeah,
they've built, and they've got to rebuy everything. And like the
yeah,
shoes are
like
muddy, and so we've got to get more, like
exactly.
all that. Yes.
All that stuff you have to account for and then like take it to
Mm.
the client and be like, "Is this okay?" And they're like, "Cut it by 20,000." You're like, "Okay, but if I cut it, like we're
What do
screwed."
I do?
So like
Yeah.
there's that side of it. And then because I've worked on budgets or like productions where like I'm
Mm.
producer, PM, like, all the different roles. Now, if you have a bigger production, you have a PM, like production manager,
Mhm.
then they can help you start sourcing your crew and getting
Mhm.
all of the paperwork and admin stuff set up for payment and invoicing and all that world.
Mhm.
And they'll like do rates with the crew members. So if you have that, which is always a gift, great. If you don't, then I'm also doing that where I'm just, calling or texting like, "Hey, can you come do styling for me for this amount for these hours on this day? Are you available?" "No." "Okay, next person." Like, "Send me your rec." And you just like are on the phone for 2 days straight trying to like lock in crew.
And that is why, too, as a creative, it is so helpful to know producers and to connect yourselves to them and to have a good repertoire with them so that when they have their next shoot and they're looking for, a photographer, they're in was not producing, they're thinking of her, or a food stylist and they're thinking of me. Just to
Yeah.
have that ongoing relationship is super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just producers are legends of all legends, and they are really the most resilient emotionally stable people that you could probably ever encounter. Like it's
You would
absolutely hard
hope.
because
You would hope.
well, yeah, I mean, I say emotionally stable. I think every single one has had a successful career has learned how to manage the stress, manage the unforeseen complicatedness that can happen on set.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the struggle's real. But okay, so
This
Fadwa, so we talked about producing, and I also want to go back to your photography a little bit too before we
Mhm.
wrap. And tell me about like some of your favorite photography or videography clients and like because one thing that strikes me about you that you've done with your client list is I feel like you really because you're so busy, like you obviously are growing a blossoming business, you really have sort of chosen to shoot with people that resonate with you in your heart and their causes. So tell me a little bit about that and what it looks like to kind of try and move towards working with causes that are important to you.
Yeah. I think the biggest one I had mentioned was the Down syndrome shoot that I
Yeah.
had done last year. I'm gonna try to make it an annual thing, so I'll be doing it again in October. And
Yeah.
that one is it's a little different because it's not necessarily like any client hiring me. I am
Yeah.
putting a shoot together like with an art director,
Hmm.
with a PA, and we make a setup to be able to gift families that have either children, grandparents, whatever, any family member that has someone with Down syndrome in their family to just give them a shoot.
Hmm.
And so doing that last year, because that's such a like dear cause to my heart, I was like, I need to do that annually.
Hmm.
Um, so that like doing that kind of also lit that fire in me of like, what is the work that I really care to say yes to?
Hmm.
And why am I doing what I do? Because it's
Hmm.
not just I got to make a pretty photo. Like,
Hmm.
cool. Anybody can like not anybody, but a lot of people can just make a pretty photo. It's like capturing like what that means to the people outside of that time.
Hmm.
And so when I look at a new project that comes in, whether it's photo or video, and I
Hmm.
still don't get it right all the time, but I like
Hmm.
try to really sit with, does this align with who I am?
Hmm.
Like, do I does this excite me to do? Because the number doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it could be X amount of dollars, but if it doesn't sit right with me and if it causes anxiety off the bat, then I'm like, it's not the right fit.
Hmm.
And anytime I've gone against that, I've been in like an anxiety tunnel for a month until the
Hmm.
project's over. And I've hated
Hmm.
it. Wasn't
Hmm.
worth it. That wasn't worth it. I didn't get to like grow as a human. I didn't like get to love on the people around me as much as I would have liked to. I don't show up to set the way that I would have liked to.
Hmm.
So all of that comes into play, like in a creative way that matters,
Hmm.
more than just like what the job is. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
but I look at that and then I go to set and I just want to like love on the people that are there. Like crew people are my favorite people. And I think sometimes
Same.
producers get a bad rep because it's like, yeah, you're looking at the bottom line. And
Yeah.
I don't operate that way. Like, yes, I
Hmm.
want to make sure that we don't go over.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, if like we're not taking care of the crew, then the video is gonna suffer regardless. So like I definitely go into that of like, no, I'm protecting
Hmm.
crew. Like client will be happy. You have to tell them no sometimes, and a lot of
Hmm.
producers don't like to do that. And
Hmm.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like you've got to stand up for like everybody here because you will get walked
Hmm.
over. Um, and that messes up the whole project. So I look at all of those things, who I'm working with, what it is, does it align with me? Is it something, even if I feel like I want to say yes, like, does God want me to say yes? Because there have
Hmm.
been jobs like, doesn't I just need to say no to this? And like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a paycheck, but I still have to say no. And when I've said no, something else has always come up that has like been
Hmm.
better, that has
Yes.
been like needed to be. And or
Hmm.
even if it's been unpaid, it's been like a job that like is something that I wanted to do or dabble in or whatever.
Hmm.
It's always come up from saying no to something that like everybody else would be like, you're crazy. Like, why
Yeah.
did you say no to that? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, like, the money will come and like I really need to trust like
Yeah.
myself, God, and what I do and like what I
Hmm.
want to do.
Mm. Come
Yeah.
on. And those are like, I feel like Fadra just gave us like several keys to success. One of them is when we align our creative work with brands or nonprofits or that we believe in, it's going to show. Like, and you can see in Fadwa's work. She's a storyteller. She's a master storyteller. And you can see her telling these beautiful stories that come from her heart. And as a viewer, when we're looking at something that someone has made from their heart, from their compassion or their kindness or their courage, whatever that looks like, you're going to receive, because we've talked about this before, sort of like as a creative, we're imparting something of ourselves in our projects. And when we encounter a project that someone has put part of themselves in it, like we're receiving something from that, whether it's encouragement or passion or bravery. And that matters. And I think it naturally makes you more successful because the work that you're putting out is your true best. It is excellent because you really care about these causes or these brands. And I think that's beautiful. And I think also that idea of like paying attention to what you're called to. And, you know, obviously Fadwa and I believe in God, and like what he is saying sets us up for success because he's seeing this grand picture of our creative careers. And I'm a firm believer, and I'm sure Fadwa is too, of like there's more than enough creative work. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to be territorial about things. And if something comes my way, I don't need to grasp it with my fingers and not let it go, even when it's giving me anxiety, because there's someone greater than all of this. And I think when we pass along those projects, it gives other people the opportunity to succeed on that shoot where it wasn't my opportunity, but we actually were generous and it was somebody else's and they're thriving now, you know? So it's like when we look at it holistically. And the third thing that you were saying too is like caring for people. That truly matters because at the end of the day, like if we say that we are faith people, then the most important thing is that we love others, right? And so like when you're saying I'm standing up to the client, I'm saying no when I need to because I'm taking care of people, that is wisdom because people are really at the end of the day, the only thing that matters. And taking care of them is like, because the thing about crew that I think sometimes even client forgets is like, we leave the shoot and we're going to have to live to work another day. So I think when people push crew too hard, they don't feed them well, they're too cold, they're too hot, like all those things, they still are going to work another day. So I always have to think, I mean, even when I'm signing over projects, like what's the end, like the long term of this? Like, am I going to need to go to the chiropractor? Is this physically, like, what is this looking like? And that's something that a good producer does is you think through those things because you realize that yes, crew's not traditionally 9 to 5, but they need to keep working, right? So thinking about that. Okay, that is so good, Fadwa. Thank you for all of those nuggets. Okay, so we're reaching the end of our time, and that makes me sad.
No, I'm like,
You're
wait.
you're in Miami, and you need to go live your best beach life. But I always wrap the podcast. There's this question that I like to ask because I see this in all of my wonderful creative friends like you, Fadwa, is you all carry this gift of beauty on your life. Like beauty is something that I see in your work. It's something I see in your countenance, what you bring to set. And so I always like to end with, you know, what does beauty mean to you, Fadwa? And what does it look like in your life and your creative work? Just however you want to speak to it.
Yeah, I love this question. I have for years, probably like 10 or 15 years now, I've always had this saying that is like, have a beautiful heart. Like
Mm,
that is what beauty is to me. Is it's not the aesthetically, like yes, that's a part of it, but like your heart behind it, whether that's the work that you're putting in, again, how you're loving people, like any
mhm,
project that I do, or touch or whatever, it's like I want to come out of that with someone feeling seen, feeling loved, feeling known, and
mm,
like they matter. And that is what beauty is to me. So, and then that carries on into like what you see visually. But without that, like you wouldn't, I don't think you would have beauty. So that's what that
mm. That is absolutely stunning. Beauty is having a beautiful heart. Well, Fadwa, you have a beautiful heart. That is what you carry into. It is contagious. Like I just want you all to be on set with her because she's such a joy. She's so calm. She is a ray of sunshine. She does have a beautiful heart. And I think I watch her kind of transform environments with what she brings to the table. And it's why I'm so honored to have had you on the pod, Fred.
What
Oh,
does it mean to you? I want to know your answer.
oh, what does beauty mean to me? What a great
Yeah.
question. Beauty to me is powerful. And that power looks several different ways. I think it has the ability to move people's hearts and minds and spirits in a direction towards their creator. I think it is something that makes you stop and question like things. And I think it woos you to the source of all beauty. And I think that's my favorite thing about it. But I think in my life and in my days right now as a mom, I'm really trying to be mindful of creating, and like my house, please no. My house is a disaster. I mean, like, I know you're supposed to deep clean your floors. I have not done that. I was literally driving down the road the other day going like, I haven't deep cleaned my floors in probably 8 months. So just know that if you come over to my house, you're going to step on a Lego, a Cheerio will end up on your elbow, and there's maple syrup on you somewhere because I don't know where it came from, but it's there. Um, so trying to like curate beauty in the everyday of motherhood as well, and sort of trying to incline my boys towards beauty. And for me, that looks like, hey, did you guys see that butterfly? Wasn't that amazing? Like, tell me what colors you see. What does that look like to you? Or do you hear that sound? Like, what is that? Can you tell me more about that? Or, and they've even started coming up to me and they'll be like, Mom, look at this beautiful flower, or, look at this, or they'll like draw a picture and be like, isn't this beautiful? And I think I want them to like experience the peace key that comes with beauty in their everyday life, and show them, like, kind of lead them there. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded answer, but thanks for asking me a question. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I was like, I wanted to ask you questions this whole time. Like, there's so much more I want to talk about, but
Oh my
it's
gosh.
so fun to
Well,
talk to you.
girl, you can always come back on anytime. Are you kidding me? Like, you're more than welcome. And I say this to everybody, like, if we're doing the pod and you're like, man, I really wish I had talked about this, or like I have a heart to like, yeah, like talk more about this, please let me know and we'll set up a follow-up, because I want to do like a series of sort of, and we can talk about this offline another time, but set up a series of like mini episodes where we
Mhm.
get more into like the nitty gritty how to, of like how to produce, like
Yeah.
how to set up a successful photo shoot, like how to shoot animals, because you have a lot of experience there, like things like that. I want to kind of break off into a little bit. So keep that little nugget, I guess, what's
Yeah.
bird in your ear, not bird in your ear, something in your ear. That too.
No, I love it. I think there's a lot, for sure to break off into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like even the idea of like touched on like saying no to work and things
Yes.
like that. Like I think a lot of
Yeah.
people in Nashville get so stuck on like holding on and yeah, like how you mentioned, it's not always
Mhm.
our opportunity. Like sometimes it is for someone else and they're gonna do it better and like support that and that's okay. But yeah, I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of other things to touch on for sure. So this was such a
Yes.
good convo.
Okay, good start. I love it. I love it. Oh, Fadwa, well, thank you again for being on the pod. I just hope that you have the sweetest time in Miami. You just enjoy that beach, lots of delicious food for us. And
Thanks.
yes, live your best life. Well, thank you again for coming on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Talk soon.
Okay, bye.